Regret doesn't happen overnight. It's not an instant reaction. It's a slow burn that begins when the excitement fades and reality settles in. When she first walks away, she feels a sense of freedom. There's relief, confidence, even pride. She believes she made the right choice, that life without you will be easier, lighter, more fun. In her mind, she's in control. The world tells her she's strong for leaving, her friends cheer her on, and for a while that validation fuels her ego. But what she doesn't realize is that ego and peace are not the same thing. The ego feels satisfied temporarily, but the heart always knows when it has lost something real. At first, she's distracted. Maybe she's talking to new people, going out more, posting more, smiling wider. It looks like she's moved on, but deep down, all she's doing is trying to convince herself she's fine. Because the truth is, regret takes time to grow. It doesn't come from what she gains after leaving. It comes from what she starts to feel missing inside her. That void isn't immediate. It shows up slowly in moments she doesn't expect. A song, a scent, a memory, a quiet night, these small things begin to chip away at her certainty. You see, when she left, she thought she'd find better. But better isn't always new. Sometimes better was what she already had. And that realization doesn't strike in the noise of parties or the rush of new attention. It comes in the silence. The silence is where truth always speaks the loudest. It's when she's alone at night, scrolling through her phone, seeing a picture of you, not sad, not broken, just content. That's when it hits her. You were peace disguised as routine, love disguised as effort, and comfort disguised as consistency. She starts remembering not the arguments or the flaws, but the way you made her feel safe, the way you listened, the way you cared without needing recognition. That's the thing about time. It reveals what people take for granted. The longer she stays away, the more clearly she sees. Regret doesn't appear in the early stages because she's still blinded by her pride. But pride fades when the noise dies down. When she starts meeting people who don't understand her the way you did, when laughter doesn't feel the same, when her conversations start to feel forced, that's when the first cracks form. And those cracks turn into reflection. She begins to ask herself if she made the right decision. The same ego that once convinced her to walk away now whispers doubt. And in that moment, she'll try to resist it. She'll tell herself she's just missing comfort, not you, but deep down, she knows that's a lie. Because it's not just comfort she misses, it's connection. You can't replace connection with distraction. You can't replace genuine care with temporary excitement. The more she tries to move on, the more she realizes she can't escape the truth. The regret doesn't come in one big emotional breakdown. It comes in waves, small, subtle reminders that grow heavier with time. And while she's going through this silent storm, you've already started to heal. You've accepted, learned, and grown. You've turned your pain into strength and your silence into peace. That's what makes her regret even more powerful. Because regret doesn't grow in the one who's still chasing. It grows in the one who thought they'd never have to. So, if you ever wonder how long it takes her to regret losing you, understand this, it's not about the days or weeks. It's about the moment she realizes you've moved on with calmness instead of bitterness. That's when the regret truly begins quietly, deeply, and too late. When she first walks away, her ego feels powerful. She tells herself she made the right choice, that she's finally free, finally in control. In those early days, it's not regret that drives her. It's validation. She wants to prove to herself and everyone else that she's happier without you. That's why you'll see her post more, laugh louder, and act like she's moved on faster than anyone expected. But what you're really seeing isn't peace, it's performance. Because when someone is truly at peace, they don't need to prove anything to the world. What she's doing is trying to convince herself that she didn't make a mistake. Her ego feeds off attention, off the illusion of freedom. But deep down, her heart doesn't heal with the same speed her pride celebrates. The first stage after a breakup isn't regret, it's denial. She's trying to drown out what she feels with temporary excitement. She'll go out more, talk to new people, keep herself busy, because stillness is dangerous. Stillness forces her to think, and thinking leads to truth. So she avoids it. She keeps moving, but not because she's free, because she's running. The ego always runs when it's afraid to face pain. But no matter how fast she moves, the heart always catches up. The heart doesn't care about social media, validation, or who seems to be winning the breakup. The heart only cares about connection, and that's what begins to eat at her slowly. Because after the noise fades, after the new people lose their charm, she starts to feel something missing. Not instantly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a soft ache that doesn't go away. That's the beginning of emptiness. And it's not the kind of emptiness that can be filled by going out more or pretending she's fine. It's the emptiness of realizing that freedom isn't as peaceful as it seemed when it's not shared with the right person. She'll replay moments in her head not because she misses the relationship, but because her mind is trying to make sense of what she lost. She'll think about how you were patient when she wasn't, how you listened when others didn't, how your presence brought calmness she didn't appreciate then. But she won't admit it yet. Her ego will fight it, telling her to stay strong, to stay distant, to not look weak. But deep down, that voice grows quieter with time, and the heart begins to speak louder. And the heart doesn't lie. It knows when something real is gone. That's the silent battle inside her. On the outside, she's smiling, posting, living like nothing happened. But inside, she's torn between what her ego wants to prove and what her heart knows to be true. The longer she ignores it, the heavier it becomes, because every time she forces herself to act unbothered, it drains her a little more. Eventually, that strength she thought she had turns into exhaustion. And then she gets tired of pretending, she gets tired of being strong for the wrong reasons. That's when the cracks start to show. Maybe she won't reach out right away, maybe she won't say anything at all, but she'll start feeling it, the loneliness that comes not from being alone, but from losing someone who actually cared. That's when her pride stops feeling powerful and starts feeling like a prison. And this is why you must never chase in those moments. Let her go through that phase. Let her ego burn out. Because the more she tries to prove she's over you, the more she reveals how deeply she's still affected. When her ego fades, her heart will finally see clearly. And by then, she'll understand that what she thought was power was really fear, and what she left behind was peace. Her regret doesn't begin the moment she leaves. It begins the moment you stop chasing. As long as you're still reaching out, still trying to fix things, still holding on to hope, she feels safe in her decision. Your attention tells her she still has power. She believes you'll always be there, waiting, forgiving, understanding. That illusion gives her comfort, not because she loves you, but because she knows she hasn't truly lost you yet. But the moment your energy shifts, the moment you stop reacting, that's when everything changes. Because silence speaks a language the ego can't ignore. When you stop chasing, you break the cycle of validation. You stop feeding her ego, and suddenly she has no emotional control over you. That's when confusion sets in. She begins to wonder what happened, where the messages went, where the calls went, where the effort went. She thought you'd keep trying forever. She thought you'd still be waiting in the background, ready to answer if she ever changed her mind. But now that safety net is gone, and that's when she starts to feel it, the quiet unease of uncertainty. Your silence forces her to think, and thinking is dangerous for someone who was sure they made the right choice. Because in that silence, her mind begins to wander back to you. She starts remembering not just the good moments, but the version of herself that existed when she was with you. She remembers how you made her feel seen, supported, secure. And now she starts to question whether she's really better off without that. She won't admit it right away. Her pride will fight it. But deep down, she starts to miss the energy that used to chase her. The same energy she took for granted. What's powerful about detachment is that it shifts the emotional balance. When you stop chasing, you take back your value. You're no longer the one trying to prove your worth. You're no longer reacting to her decisions. You become unpredictable, and that unpredictability unsettles her. Because the truth is, people only realize your value when they lose access to it. And nothing cuts deeper than realizing that the person who once cared so deeply now feels indifferent. Indifference is the death of control. You see, when you pull back, she expects you to be angry, sad, bitter, anything but calm. But when you respond with peace, she doesn't know how to handle it. Because peace shows strength. Peace shows that you've accepted what is and moved on without needing closure. That calmness eats at her more than any argument could. Because while she's trying to convince herself she's unbothered, your silence shows that you genuinely are. That's when the roles begin to reverse. Over time, she'll start looking for little signs from you, a story view, a text, anything. But when she finds nothing, that's when the seed of regret starts to grow. She'll begin to realize that while she was focused on moving on, you were focused on healing. While she was proving something to the world, you were becoming better in silence. That's the moment she starts missing you, not because you reminded her, but because your absence reminds her of what she lost. This is the power of not chasing. When you stop running after what walked away, you shift the dynamic from desperation to discipline. You show her and yourself that you don't need her validation to feel complete. That's when she starts to question her choice, and slowly regret begins to replace her pride. So, understand this, your silence will do what words never could. You don't have to prove your worth to someone who left. The moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts remembering. And when she realizes that you've moved on without her, that's when the real regret begins, quietly, powerfully, and too late. Regret always hits harder when she sees the man she left become everything she once hoped he'd be. At first, she doesn't notice the change. She assumes you'll stay the same, stuck in pain, maybe waiting for her, maybe trying to get her back. That's what she expects. Because in her mind, she still has that silent control. But when she starts to see your glow up, when she notices that your silence is turned into self-improvement, something inside her starts to shift. The same woman who once felt certain begins to feel uncertain, because now she's not looking at the man she walked away from. She's looking at the man who used heartbreak as fuel for transformation. You start to move differently. Your energy changes. You're not posting out of pain. You're posting out of peace. You're not chasing anyone. You're building yourself. Maybe you started hitting the gym. Maybe you started a new project. Maybe you found a sense of direction she never saw in you before. That's when her curiosity turns into reflection. She starts wondering how you found that confidence without her. Because in her mind, she believes she was the reason behind your drive, your motivation, your focus. But now she's realizing you've become stronger without her, and that realization cuts deep. When a woman sees a man evolve after heartbreak, it hits her ego first. Because the truth is, she expected you to break down, not level up. She thought she'd have time, that you'd still be stuck thinking about her while she explored her freedom. But the more she sees you grow, the more she understands that she's no longer the center of your world. And that's when the regret truly starts taking shape, not because she suddenly loves you again, but because she realizes she lost a man who never stopped growing. You see, nothing stings more than watching someone you once had become someone you can't have anymore. That's why your growth matters. Every bit of progress you make, every step you take toward becoming your best version adds weight to her regret. Because while you're evolving, she's still stuck trying to fill the void with distractions. The same things that once excited her now feel empty. The attention she gets doesn't feel the same, the compliments don't touch her heart, and the fun starts feeling fake. And all the while she sees you grounded, calm, focused, glowing. That glow isn't revenge, it's peace. And peace is far more powerful than anger. It's not just about physical change, it's your energy. You've stopped needing her validation. You've learned to be content in your own company. That's what truly attracts her attention again. Because once a woman sees a man who no longer needs her to feel valuable, her perception of him changes completely. She starts remembering why she fell for you in the first place, your drive, your heart, your presence. But now you've added something new, independence. That's the version she can't compete with, the version that doesn't need her approval anymore. And that's the truth she tries to hide but can't escape. Your growth has made her replaceable in her own story. She starts asking herself questions she never thought she would. Did I give up too soon? Would things be different if I had waited? Does he even think about me anymore? These questions don't come from pride. They come from the deep realization that she let go of something she'll never find again. That's why leveling up after heartbreak isn't about proving anything to her. It's about proving something to yourself, that pain doesn't define you, that loss can build you, that growth is the ultimate revenge. Because once she sees that the man she left behind became the man she always wanted, her regret becomes permanent. And by the time she realizes it, you've already outgrown the version of her that left you behind. When she walks away, she tells herself that someone better will come along. She convinces herself that she can replace what you had, that love is easy to find, and connection is just a matter of time. That's the illusion her ego feeds her. But soon, she starts to realize that not every man will treat her the way you did. Not everyone will listen with the same patience, care with the same depth, or understand her silence the way you used to. That's when the slow ache of regret begins, not because she's lonely, but because she finally sees that replacements can't heal what real connection once filled. At first, she tries to distract herself. Maybe she starts dating again. Maybe she gets attention from people who seem more exciting, more confident, more fun. On the surface, it looks like she's moved on. But what she doesn't understand yet is that attention and affection are not the same thing. Anyone can give her attention, but very few can give her peace. She starts to feel that difference in the quiet moments, after the texts stop, after the calls fade, when she's left with nothing but her thoughts. That's when she starts remembering you, not because she wants to, but because her soul feels the absence of something genuine. The irony is that the harder she tries to replace you, the more she ends up comparing everyone to you. She notices how other men don't listen the same way, don't care with the same consistency, don't bring the same calmness into her life. It's not that they're bad people. It's just that the connection she had with you wasn't ordinary. You see, when you've experienced real love, temporary attention can't satisfy the heart anymore. And that's the trap she finds herself in. She'll try to convince herself that she's happier now, but deep down, every new interaction feels hollow compared to what she left behind. She starts realizing that you weren't perfect, but you were real. You showed up, you cared, and you stayed even when things got tough. That kind of energy can't be replaced because it's rare. Most people only know how to stay when it's easy. You knew how to stay when it was hard. And once she experiences the surface level energy of others, she begins to appreciate the depth you once brought. That's when her pride starts to break, because now she understands that the connection she took for granted wasn't something she could just recreate with someone new. She'll try to act like she doesn't care, maybe even pretend she's happy in front of others, but inside, she's conflicted. She knows something's missing, something that attention alone can't fill. Because connection isn't about excitement, it's about understanding. It's about being seen without having to explain. And that's what she lost when she walked away from you. The world might give her many people to talk to, but no one who truly listens. Many who flatter her, but none who understand her. And with time, that truth becomes heavier. Every new relationship she enters will remind her of what she had with you. The small things will trigger her memory, your tone, your patience, your way of making her feel at home. She'll start realizing that it's not you she misses, it's the peace that came with you. And when that realization hits, it's not just regret, it's awakening. Because now she understands that replacements don't heal, they only delay the pain. That's when she truly starts to feel it, that she didn't just lose a man, she lost the rare feeling of being genuinely loved. And while she tries to fill that void with moments and people, it never works. Because no matter how far she runs, she'll always end up comparing. And in every comparison, you'll win, not because you're perfect, but because you were real in a world full of temporary. Regret doesn't hit her when she first walks away, or even when she tries to replace you. It hits her when she finally realizes you're gone for real, when your energy, your attention, and your presence are no longer hers to access. That's when the silence becomes deafening. For a long time, she thought she could come back if she wanted to. She believed you'd always be there, waiting, still hoping, still checking on her. But when she looks around and finds that you're not there anymore, not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually, that's when the truth finally sinks in. The version of you she knew doesn't exist anymore. You've outgrown her. At first, she doesn't believe it. She might reach out with something small, a message, a reaction, a memory, just to test the waters. She expects the old you to respond quickly, to show excitement, to remind her that she still matters. But instead, she's met with calmness or even silence. And that silence hits harder than any words ever could, because it tells her something she never prepared herself to hear, that you've let go and you didn't move on with anger or revenge. You moved on with peace. And peace is the one thing her world can't compete with. That's when everything she thought she understood about you starts to crumble. She remembers how she once had your full attention, your patience, your heart. You were always there, ready to fix things, ready to fight for her. But now you're focused on yourself, your life, your growth. You're not playing games. You're simply done trying. That shift is powerful because it makes her see what she truly lost. She didn't just lose your presence. She lost your effort, your consistency, your energy. And when a man's energy disappears completely, that's when a woman feels the real loss. As she watches you grow, something deeper stirs inside her. Maybe she sees you smiling more, living lighter, connecting with new people, moving forward with purpose. At first, she tells herself she's happy for you, but that's only half the truth. The other half, the part she hides, is that it hurts to see you becoming the best version of yourself without her. Because she remembers the version of you she left behind, the one that cared so deeply. And now she's watching that same man transform into someone stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. That contrast forces her to face something painful. She walked away from a man who is becoming great. It's in those quiet moments when regret hits hardest. Not when she's surrounded by people, not when she's pretending to be fine, but when she's alone scrolling through your pictures or hearing your name in conversation. That's when the emotions she's been avoiding finally rise to the surface. It's not anger, it's not jealousy, it's pure regret. Because now she knows that she didn't just lose a relationship, she lost the version of herself that felt safe, loved, and grounded when she was with you. And by the time she comes to this realization, it's too late. You're no longer reachable in the way you once were. She can't text her way back into your life because you've grown beyond that phase. You've built something that doesn't need her to feel complete. That's the moment her regret becomes permanent, when she understands that she can't get back what she lost, not because you're holding back, but because you've evolved. That's why letting go is so powerful. Because when you detach, you create space for growth. And that growth becomes her biggest reminder of what she lost. You didn't need to seek revenge or prove anything. You simply became the man she can't forget. And when she finally realizes that the peace she was chasing was the one she walked away from, the regret that hits her isn't temporary, it stays. Because she'll always remember you, not as the one who waited, but as the one who moved on and never looked back.